Hey everyone, Brian here with DIY Outdoor Life. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at this Tadeto propane gas detector. It also does carbon monoxide. I'm going to be installing this on my hiker trailer. I'll show you how I'm going to do that. Now, I chose this device because it's priced well, high quality, and it really could not be any easier to install. So I'm going to try to cover all of that today. Let's get to it. So my hiker trailer came with a smoke detector carbon monoxide detector combo. It's made for RVs, but it's very similar to what you'd find at home. There's disposable batteries in there. It'll chirp when it's getting low, but this trailer does not have a propane gas detector. Now, this isn't so much of a big deal with the way most of these hikers are set up, but based on how I'm using this trailer, this is definitely a worthwhile device to have, and I'm going to show you how easy this one is to install. See, most campers have a propane canister out front. There's a regulator there and there's hoses that run underneath the camper. They're moving around and they're bouncing when you're driving down the road. Some of them have a ton of points where fittings send that propane up into the trailer. If you think about a bigger camper, you have a range and a cooktop, a hot water heater, maybe a propane fridge and a furnace. There's lots of points of contact for that propane going in the trailer. Obviously, those trailers need a propane detector for safety reasons. A lot of the basic hiker setups don't have propane at all. Or you might have one of these hot water heaters that connect on the outside of the trailer with the propane tank. The gas is not going inside the camper, so it makes sense that it's not really a device that's needed. Coming around the other side of my trailer though, I did choose to go with the furnace option. I have the Truma, some people have the Propex, but this is a case where the gas is going inside the trailer and is enough of a reason for me to want to install this device. But truth be told, the biggest reason has to do with me not really practicing what I preach. The bigger culprit is these 1-pound cylinders, especially if you refill these. I tend to end up throwing these in the galley at the campsite and closing them. It's not a really good idea. I have had one of these leak before. So on a side note, we could talk about it in another video. I did upgrade to the ones that are designed to be refilled. I can save money that way, but I got a whole bunch of these I got to work through first. It's not a good idea to store these in a galley, and this is probably the most likely case of me having a problem here. Another good reason to have this detector. So last point here before we get to the install. This device will also do carbon monoxide. So there's a redundancy because this device will do it as well. But there's an important thing here to realize. Smoke is hot. It rises quickly. We want our smoke detectors up as close to the ceiling as possible. But even in a small space like this, propane gas and carbon monoxide is heavier than air. It sinks and it pools from the bottom up. So the best spot for a smoke detector is not usually the best spot for a carbon monoxide detector. So it's another no-brainer reason to do this. Now we have to find a spot to install this. But with that in mind, we might want to get down here halfway. That will work better for carbon monoxide, getting it down here closer to the pass-through than installing it up here at the height of the other one. So now let's find a location for this and I'll show you how to install it. So this device comes with two 3M stick pads. You could put that on and stick this thing anywhere. It couldn't be any easier. But it also comes with mollies for a hollow wall. But with a hiker like this with 3/4-inch plywood, I'm going to use the screws and these two little inserts to make a good solid install. It's got 2 wires and it's 12 volts DC. We have 12 volts DC everywhere, but you're going to be mindful of that where you install this. One great spot might be right here because there's a 12-volt accessory. I can open this, hide the wires, and this is probably the easiest spot to install this. But talking about some of the things we discussed at the head of the video, the propane source, the carbon monoxide is more likely to be coming that way. I'm going to make an effort to install it on my bulkhead wall, the galley head wall, but you could install it here and it would likely work just as well. So the spot that I've zeroed in on is right here above the thermostat and controls for the furnace. It's not so low that I'm going to be bumping into it while I'm sleeping. It's definitely lower down, so it's going to work better, But right behind this wall, I have some really easy to tap into 12-volt sources. So I'm going to be looking at making this install right here. I think it looks pretty good. You could follow along with me or really put this anywhere you want. So for some people, the scariest part of this is going to be that you have to tap in for a 12-volt source somewhere. But on my hiker, there's a little accessory panel back here. If yours is set up different, there's 12 volts going everywhere. There's light circuits, and your whole fuse block is located right here on the wall. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill a little hole in right here. That's going to put me right where I want to go inside the galley, and I don't even have to do much wire management. It's going to be kind of hidden up behind this accessory. So I've already taken the screws out to get back here. I'm going to show you where we'll drill our hole in, and we'll talk a little bit about some of the easiest ways to make this connection. So with projects like this, there's definitely more than one way to skin a cat. There's some variance in how you might want to do this. If I install it right above my thermostat here, it'll be in a nice position, but I will have to extend the wire. You're gonna have to get some 14 or 16 gauge wire, put some butt splices on, and give yourself a little bit more conductor here to work with. You could slide it up and probably have enough position, enough length on the wire to do that. You wouldn't even have to hide your wire then because it's coming right behind this accessory port. So, you know, there's some preference here in how you're gonna install it, but I'll use a 1/4-inch drill bit. That hole's gonna hide with this unit on the inside. And there's a couple ways we can dress that up with wire loom if you can see it, or if you go up high enough, you're not going to be able to see it anyway. It's going to be behind this accessory panel box that holds these outlets if you have that option. So basically, we're topping into 12 volts here. There's a number of different ways to do that. Now let's get ready to install this device inside. Like I said, they gave you 2 sticky pads. You might want to use that. It's going to make a good connection. It stays up there even when it gets hot. Here's your mollies. All of this comes with the kit. I'm going to go with the screws, but they also give you this little Wago connector, this lever connector. So if you're just tapping straight in with wires, we'll talk about this in a little bit, but they give you an awful lot in this kit to help make this easier. Little tip for you. I took a piece of masking tape and a marker. I put it across the back and I marked where the screws go, and I marked the center point of this wire. I can now peel this tape off, go inside the camper, and use that as a template to put my screws in. So a little post edit here. This is what happens when you're trying to film and do a project at once. Those screws are actually just a hair longer than I want them to be. You're gonna see that I made a mistake here at the end. I'll show you, it's not a huge deal, but go ahead and just get 2 1/2-inch screws for this job, and it's gonna be a lot easier. So I stuck my tape here. I lined the mark I made for the wire right up with the hole, and I was able to put my screws in. Now, if you put them in too far, the device isn't going to lock in place. If they're too loose, it'll wobble around. So you can make some adjustments here and do a really good job. The tape helps out a lot. You can either eyeball it or use a level if your camper is level to line that up. One additional trick here that I forgot to mention is you can tape an envelope underneath this section when you're drilling the hole, and it'll catch all of your sawdust and make this easier. But now for a mock-up, I'm just going to stick the wires through the hole temporarily, run those through, and it holds my device really well. I might snug up those screws just a little bit for a good connection, but we're ready to go. Just going to slide these wires through to mock this up. Now I might want to snug this one side up, but we're close to going here. When I'm poking those wires through that hole, I'm going to use just a little piece of heat shrink to protect them up against the cut that the drill bit made of the wood. If you don't have heat shrink or something fancier like a little grommet, you could put a little tape around that. It's just a good idea to protect those wires. Now, the final stage of this is making your 12-volt connection. And the device just has that black wire and the red wire. The red is the supply and the black is the ground. Truth is, there's a ton of different ways that you can do this. So with the fuse block here, if you're like me, we'll run a whole new wire, put our wire loom up, dress everything up, and try to make improvements as we do these mods. But if you're nervous about this and you're looking to just add this carbon monoxide propane detector without doing a whole bunch of additional wiring, there is a couple tricks here that can make this easier. As we pull this 12-volt device out, there might be enough slack in there that you can either use one of those wire tap devices. I'll put that on the screen, I'll link it in. That's an okay application. People use those in automotive applications. But what I'm gonna do is actually use a Wago connector, similar to the one that they provided, but it has 3 slots instead of 2 on each side. So I'm gonna get 2 of these, install it on the end of this device, and this is actually gonna allow me to do a safe 3-way splice that any beginner can do. You don't need any crimp tools. So the video would get too long if I showed you how to use every single one of these, but I don't want to leave my beginners behind. With this device, it gives you a strip gauge that shows you how much you strip. You can slide the negative in one side, and it makes a very strong connection. You can snap the positive in the other side, and then you can connect any other wires here, and it makes an approved splice without having to get out, you know, all of your different crimp tools that you'd have if you do this all the time. They make it really easy for you. With the 3-way splice, especially if we're going to use 2 of them, I can actually bond up 3 reds with one and use the other one to do the 3 blacks. This is what allows me to cut the supply wire, separate it, and then marry up the 2 reds into one of these and the 2 blacks into the other one. This leaves 1 extra port here, right? So the supply wire is now split in. The 3rd port is open to put your red wire with the reds from your detector and the black wire with the open port on the other one. I'll show an example of that, but you don't need to have any fancy tools to do this. Now, truth be told, I gave myself some extension wire up here to make it easier. I did run a whole new wire back, but I want to make sure that everyone knows that you can go as far with this project or as simple with this project as you want. And I'll link these Wago connectors in my description because this can really make it a DIY project for anyone. Here's an example of using their inline lever connector. You can buy these, but this actually came with the device. To actually extend the length of the wire coming from it, it's a tight fit, but now I have plenty of wire to go with. I even extended the wires on this device. It just makes it easier to use, but now I have 1 wire from the positive side of my 12-volt appliance, 1 wire from the negative side, the ground side, and there's 2 open ports on these Wagos, and we got 2 red wires and 2 black wires. So I'm just gonna marry the reds with the reds and the black with the black, and we're gonna be good to go. Before you start cutting into any of this, go ahead and pull your fuse or turn the camper off. I have the camper on just for the lighting, but that's a good way to just avoid blowing an extra fuse doing this project. So now I've done just that. I have my 2 3-way Wago connectors connecting my reds and my black up here. My device is live. I put the fuse back in, and our propane detector is now working inside the camper. So I can put all this stuff back, bind the extra wires up in this nice box. I have a little piece of wire loom and a clamp to make this look pretty dressed up. I'm excited to show you the final product. So I have the whole project wrapped up here. Everything's put back, the fuses are on, this works. I put a little wire loom down here, but no DIY project is complete without making one mistake, and I have no intention of hiding that from you. When I snugged that screw in, just the tiniest little tips came through here. It's not a huge deal. I tried to snug that device up real tight. I'll probably go back and just go with like a 1/2-inch screw instead of a true 3/4-inch screw to avoid that from happening. But I'm very happy with how this is going. So let's hop in the camper and I'll show you the final product with this gas detector and wrap this up. So here we are. Like I said, I'm going to back this out and get shorter screws, but these things happen. It's not really a huge deal. This device is really nice. It's now linked up to the battery of this camper. The devices that have built-in batteries that do the gas detecting, they're not disposable batteries. It's a larger lithium pack that's not rechargeable. They're very expensive, and you have to throw them out every 7 to 10 years. This Tadeto is now going to run off the camper battery. If you shut the master switch off, this is going to go off as well. When you turn the master switch on, you'll hear it go and make a single beep. Your true thermostat will do that as well. It'll run for about 30 seconds and then it'll go chirp, chirp. That's the analyzing period. It means it's up and running. There is no crazy blinky lights here. So when you're sleeping here, it doesn't have to look like you're being abducted by aliens. If you want light, there's a button you can push that illuminates the screen and then it shuts off. But here's what I love about this thing the most. It will chirp and then siren if there's a problem with carbon monoxide or gas. But you can have small levels of carbon monoxide that aren't dangerous. This screen actually tells you what those levels are. It's not going to go off until it's dangerous, but that is pretty handy. I had the camper parked in a truck stop next to a truck that was running, and I could actually see the carbon monoxide raising. It was nowhere near dangerous levels, but I found that kind of interesting. I shut the window, opened the other side, and turned the vent on because I could see it climbing. So whether you have a generator or you're parking like I do sometimes in these truck stops, carbon monoxide detector, having it a little lower than this one, great thing to have. But that propane detection is just going to give me a little peace of mind. So I will link this Tadeto in my video description. This is definitely the product that I would get behind and tell people to get. I hope you were able to follow along with this video. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you guys next time. Be safe.